Welcome to LAVCA 5th grade science read alouds in Study Island. Today's topic is matter, properties, and changes. Open your Study Island lesson and be ready to listen and follow along. Then you'll be ready to open this topic and complete some practice questions. The atom is the smallest unit of an element. An atom is the smallest unit of an element that still has all the properties of that substance. In most cases, an atom consists of protons, neutrons, and electrons. The protons and neutrons are found in the center of the atom, which is a dense, tightly packed structure called the atomic nucleus. The electrons move around the outside of the nucleus. Each proton has a positive charge of +1. Neutrons have no charge. Each electron has a negative charge of -1. If the number of the electrons is the same as the number of protons, the atom will not have an electric charge. That is, it will be electrically neutral. If an atom gains or loses electrons, it becomes a charged particle called an ion. Matter is a material substance that takes up space and has weight. The word property refers to the quality or trait of an object. Therefore, properties of matter are the qualities of a particular substance. Matter is frequently described using the physical properties such as weight, shape, size, volume, color, texture, magnetic property, and state, whether it's solid, liquid, or gas. Properties of matter can be tested and observed using equipment such as the magnet, scale, beakers, and graduated cylinders as shown. Another way that objects can be described is by their ability to sink or float. There are some objects that always float in water. Examples of objects that float are corks, wood, and styrofoam. Other objects always sink. Examples of objects that sink are paper clips, rocks, and bricks. There are different explanations for why objects float or sink, but one explanation is that if the object is less dense than the water, it will float. If it is more dense than the water, it will sink. There are some properties that stay the same, no matter where the sample is large or small. Some of these properties are freezing point, density, odor, hardness, shine, and color. A conductor is a material that allows energy to flow through it easily. An insulator is a material that does not allow energy to flow through it easily. If a conductor is in contact with a form of energy such as heat, it will likely allow that energy to flow through it. Most metals are very good conductors. For example, imagine a metal spoon that is allowed to sit in a cup of hot tea. When the spoon is touched, it will likely feel hot because the heat energy from the tea moves through the spoon to the person's hand. If the spoon were plastic, which is an insulating material, the spoon would not feel hot because the heat energy would not move through the plastic very well. An insulator is a material that does not allow energy to flow through it easily. Insulators are sometimes called non-conductors. An insulator stops the flow of energy from moving through the material. Common insulators include plastics such as styrofoam, wood, cloth, and rubber. Many objects that are meant for holding hot things are made of insulating material so that people can hold the objects without getting burned. For example, Ted is baking cookies on a cookie sheet made of aluminum metal. Once the cookies are done baking, Ted needs to remove the hot cookie sheet from the oven using an insulator so that he does not burn himself. Ted would most likely use oven mitts made from cloth or silicone plastic to pick up the cookie sheet and carry it over to the counter. Objects can be classified as opaque, transparent, or translucent. Different materials can have different interactions with light energy. Some materials may reflect light, some change the direction of light through refraction or diffusion, and other materials allow light to pass through. It is even possible for a material to do one or more of these things. Materials have the quality of being opaque, translucent, or transparent, depending on how the materials interact with light. Opaque objects like a wood door absorb or reflect all light so you cannot see through them. Translucent materials like a frosted glass window diffuse light, allowing only some light to pass through or be transmitted, making the image detail unclear. Transparent objects, including car windshields, allow light to clearly pass through or be transmitted so you can see the details of objects on the other side. Chemical changes occur when a substance's identity is changed. If paper is burned, it is a chemical change because the substance is no longer paper. If water reacts with metal, the identities of both the water and the metal change, and a new substance called rust forms. One way to tell if there's been a chemical change is to notice any color change. For example, when copper metal reacts with the oxygen in the air, the metal turns from a copper red color to green. The Statue of Liberty is one example of how copper changes when it combines with oxygen. It now looks green, but when it was first made, it was the color of a penny. Another way to tell if there has been a chemical change is if there is a temperature change of the substances involved. For example, when combining baking soda and vinegar, the temperature of the combination goes up. That is, heat is produced. When baking soda and vinegar are combined, another thing happens that is evidence of a chemical change. A gas is produced. Other chemical changes where a gas is produced include burning wood and putting effervescent cold tablets in water. Formation of a solid is another evidence of a chemical change. Rust is a solid that forms when iron metal, such as that found in a nail or a screw, reacts with water.